right in the kisser.
How the devil are you? Right, so today we're going to talk about chifi. Oh, hang on a flipping minute. It's a guy, one of my subscribers, and I'm sorry. If I don't put this on a coaster, I'm in trouble. So, anyway, right, chifi I want to talk about today. Now, and why I believe that chifi is the future of the hi-fi and the hi-fi industry. You're like, you're having a laugh, mate, chifi, what? Now, the reason why is because it's a gateway into more expensive equipment. And it's a good gateway into more expensive equipment. So a lot of people leaving college and university, leaving school, don't have the funds or the money to be able to buy £1,000 amplifier or even a £500 amplifier with that. So they need a cheap gateway in, a cheap doorway into the hobby so they can get started. And this encourages more people into the hobby, okay? It keeps the industry going. For instance, most of the subscribers on this channel are probably 40 plus. I'm not saying all, and I welcome anybody at any age. So any youngsters watching this, 20 or whatever, right? I welcome you with open arms because you're the future of hi-fi, of the hobby. So we need to keep this industry going so we can get, so it's companies needs must. The need has to be there, doesn't it? For companies to carry on innovating and designing new equipment. So if there's no need for it, they'll stop doing it, okay? So I don't want that to happen, especially in my lifetime, because I'm selfish, right? So why am I talking about this? Well, I'll give you an example, right, of when I was just getting into hi-fi. I was just getting into playing records and whatever. Now, my first experience with a record player wasn't good, okay? It was a Fidelity record player. I think around the world they were called BSR, and they were these plasticky record players with little plasticky speakers, and you could stack seven or 6 or 7 7-inch singles on top, and it'd be an armor come across. You rest it on there, it'd flip down, okay? Play a record, come back, flip another one down, go back and on automatic, and you play it like that. Well, it was good at the time. I suppose it got me into the hobby, okay? But it sounded shite, okay? It was pretty poor, right? And do you know what? I think my first record I ever got was a record by the Dickies, and it was the Banana Splits. And I think the video was just them singing into a banana, I believe. I'll put it up here if I can find it, okay? And there's bananas everywhere. Anyway, that was my first single. It was a yellow disc, yellow vinyl, and a single. Anyway, right. And then my second serious one was the Clash London Calling. That was a bit more cooler, okay? But anyway, so from there, I think I got my first job in '82, and it was like this government scheme. I was on like £25 a week, something like that. Not a lot of money, so I couldn't afford a lot. So I went and bought a flipping Amstrad hi-fi, didn't I? And for those of you who know what Amstrad is, they're an absolute pile of crap. They're so bad, right? Probably worse than the Fidelity record player. I got a picture of one here somewhere. Where is it? So here's the thing, right? And this is what we had to deal with as kids, if anybody younger's watching, right? Let me just zoom up. I'll show you a picture on the screen here. So I had a twin tape deck, so it might have been even more expensive than this. But look at this one, number 6, I think that is, right? Where's that? Number 6, Amstrad rack system, okay? £159.99. So 160 quid. This is 1982, 1983, 160 quid. So that today, hang on, I got too many flipping tabs open here. Jesus, right. So 160 quid in 1983 is today would be £672. Okay. Now, you think, well, you're getting a record player, you're getting a tape deck, you're getting a tuner. That's not bad, not bad. Let me tell you something, these were such poor quality. They probably cost about 20 quid to make. They was all plastic. And after about a year, I think mine stopped working, if I remember rightly. Something went wrong with the amp chip or something. So I thought, I'd see if I can take it apart and have a look to see if I can repair it. And they made it look like a proper stack system, but it was just plastic front. When you open it up, it's completely empty inside. Empty, which is a circuit board stuck to the front. Nothing in there, right? And the speakers was like made of paper, okay? If you took them outside, they'd blow away. I remember opening them up as well to have a look what they looked like. The magnets were paper thin. There was tiny, really cheap wire in them. There was no crossover to speak of. I think it was just a capacitor in them. Very poorly made system. And it sounded absolutely atrocious. Alan Sugar, why I order? Do you know what he did? For doing that, Alan Sugar, I quite like you know. But for doing what you did with Amstrad, selling us that crap, okay? You deserve a pow right in the kisser. Anyway, he gets my pow right in the kisser award. So this is what we had to deal with. And a tape deck. Let me just give you an example of a tape deck. Here we go, right, hang on. I don't want to drag on with this, but I just want to, you know. So this one here, this Sharp number 9, right? This, I had something similar, it was a Toshiba. I've done a video with that. I'll put a link up here, up there, which I bought with. And I was surprised how bad it sounded when I bought it. I thought it sounded better when I had it when I was a kid. And this is like number 9, a Sharp tape deck speakers, £60, right? And I guarantee that didn't sound very good. Just a standard tape deck, 2 little speakers, made of little paper, tiny little magnets on them, poor, right? And that I think was 60 quid, right? So what's 60 quid? So that's £253. If it was today's money, 253 quid, right? So you think about this now. What you could buy today for £253, right? You could get a Fuzzy Audio V3, right? What are they? I think, are they 80 quid? Just double check. Yeah, 80 quid. 80 quid, right? You can get a Wii Mini, okay? Wii Mini, 90 quid, is it? What's that? 170 quid. Okay? And you can get a pair of Wharfdale 9.1s for 130 quid. Sometimes I see them cheaper than that. I've seen them as low as like £99 if you shop around. For argument's sake, at the moment, they're 130 quid. What's that? All in £300. So for that crappy little tape deck in 1983, which today would be worth £253, for £300 I can get a Wii Mini, Fuzzy Audio V3, and a pair of Wharfdale Diamond 9.1s. And I can guarantee that that system for £300 would sound immeasurably better than the Amstrad, the Fidelity record player, and the tape deck. The tape deck was over twice the price. So this is ridiculous. So anyway, I ended up then buying a Pioneer system. After all that broke down, we used to have stuff called, it was like mail order catalogues we used to have. So my mother used to have K's. I think Gratnam's was around. Little Woods was another one. So, you know, some of you must have had one or the other in the UK anyway. So we had a K's catalogue. You could buy flipping guns then, back then, air guns in there. You can't do that anymore. And I bought, and you could pay monthly. So I decided to buy a proper hi-fi system, right? And that was the XA7. And that included an SA740 amplifier. And again, I did buy one of these recently, or 6 months ago, whatever. It's sold it on now. And it was a decent amp. Not bad at all. Sounded really nice, okay? But by today's standards, you know, it had two three-way speakers, a tape deck, single tape deck, and a tuner, and a belt-driven automatic turntable. And from what I'd had, this was a massive step up for me, okay? And I was like blown away. Wow, this is just fantastic. And it came all in one. I didn't buy it all separately. It came all in one as a stack system. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I had lots of fun with this. Eventually, I bought when CDs came out, CD players came out. I did buy a Sony CD player to go with it, but it was black. You couldn't get silver then, later in the 80s. But this cost, get this, right? £850. £850. What's that worth today? 850 quid? It's 3,600 near enough. 3,600? Whoa! Right. So my system I got at the moment, let's take my League Stereo 230. I got a Audio Technica turntable, which was about £450, £500. So the League Stereo 230, I actually got a good deal in that. Normally it'd be about £1,000 to £1,100. I got it for £850 because it was X display. So that cost me £850. My Linton's about £1,200. So that's what, £2,050 plus the turntable £500. So about 2006. So it's £1,000. So the system I got now is £1,000 cheaper than that Pioneer system I had there, right? And I got to say, even, as good as that Pioneer system was back in its day, it was only a mid-tier system, right? And compared to the system I got now, not a patch, especially with those speakers. And again, they were decent speakers, but not a patch on the Lintons. Come on, okay? So, and there you have it, and that's £2,500. So, why am I saying all this? Because, like I said, today now, you can buy a system for, 250 quid, all in. And people are like, because you've got to have a good impression. When you first start a hobby, right? If you don't enjoy it, right? That's all we had back then, but you got more choice today. But if you want a good impression, when people are getting into hi-fi, you want a decent impression. You want to be impressed by it. You want people to, if someone had never had a system before, never listened to one properly, and they got a pair of Wharfedale 9.1s, a wee Mini and a Fuzzy Audio V3, I think they'd be more than happy if, having that set up as their initial system, and then as they get better pay, promotions, better jobs, get more affluent, they can then go, oh, I'm really liking this hobby. I want to delve into it further. And that's why I think chifi is the future of hi-fi. Okay, it's a fantastic gateway. The gateway we had back in the 70s and 80s was like a rusty old crappy gate. Okay, it was like you could just about get it open. So the prospect today is much better for people just getting into the hobby. So thankfully, chifi has come a long way in the last sort of 5-10 years. Okay, and the stuff they're bringing out sounds really good, which is good for us. Okay, so don't knock it. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. And it was a bit of a waffly one today. I did go off on a couple of tangents during the day, didn't I? Hey, but there we are. It is what it is. It's my channel. I do what I want. So if you got this far, if you did get this far, flipping heck, well, good on you. Don't forget to subscribe, okay? Give the video a like. Really helps the channel out. I've also got some other socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If you could support me on there, really appreciate it. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one.